It's time to go road racing in the Area Cup Series playoffs. It's been a little while since we've gone right and left here in the Area Cup Series. Have to look back to Sonoma, California last season to find the last time we did anything other than go left. But this is the first round of 5 in the Area Cup Series playoffs, and at the end we decide a champion. Tonight though, we're just starting our first of those 5 rounds. It's not quite elimination time yet, guys, but we're getting close to it as we head into the next round. Finney and DeCuna, welcome aboard. We're here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, famous for the oval, but of course the road course has taken off in popularity in recent years. Recently got a reconfiguration, and now it's time to go stock car racing on this 2.5-mile layout.
Yeah, no, I really honestly enjoy this layout. They simplified the layout here in Indianapolis. They widened some corners. They made it in, just got rid of some corners in general, and it really made it really good for stock car racing. It's not too technical, but technical enough to give these guys a bit of a challenge, but while also not making it too hard to pass. So you should see a lot of action around here.
Excuse me. This is the first time Area has gone to the Indy road course, and this is going to be an interesting race for most of these guys. There are going to be some drivers who are going to stay towards the top of the charts, kind of like Jake Nichols, who is presumed the favorite to win the Cup Championship for the second season in a row, if he can do that. James Scioli as well. I saw Ricky Springer was at the top of the chart here in practice. There's still 6 minutes to go. Travis Beckner is one who's known to be good on these road courses, but, you know, we'll see. We got 40 laps here, Kyle, and I'm ready for it.
Eric Weinle will be down in pit lane here tonight. Eric, it has been interesting to follow this racetrack in iRacing. It was known for being extremely slick, but here today the weather is cool and dry, and that means this track is gripped up, and a lot of drivers complaining of understeer tonight.
Yeah, it's a tight one out here tonight, Kyle. The overcast skies are going to play a hamper to track conditions tonight. Only 87 degrees on the track. It stark contrast from what a lot of guys practice in, even including the multi-team pre-race practice session that just rolled off prior to the actual race session opening up. It was, I think, about mid-90s on track temp in there. So a high 80s is a little different. A lot of understeer out here tonight, and we're going to see that play a big role in specifically places like turn 10, where it's just sharp corner after sharp corner trying to get through that S section that is just going to be really tough for these guys tonight.
Coming into the first of 5 rounds here of the playoffs, Fitting, here's a look at the point standings. This is the wrong point standing, so I'll fix that here shortly. We'll take a look at the point standings, though, in the round of 12. Right now, it's Jake Nichols, Travis Beckner, Reinhardt, Weishart, DeLeo, Scioli, Michael Curhan and Ricky Springer that are in good shape, but it's Cosmin Yonishiwu, Ellison, Weaver, and Bell that have to work their way up here in this first round.
Interested in seeing what happens with Alex Weaver and Matt Bell. Actually, sorry, and also Ricky Springer too. Wanted to throw him in the mix because Springer and Bell, they both narrowly got themselves in within the last race or two into being secured into the playoffs, and now while least Bell is on the outside looking in yet again. So interested in seeing if he's found some pace this season, especially on the road course. We'll see what he can do here, and to try to make sure he can make it to the next round of the playoffs with a little bit of an easier time.
And looking there, Yonishiwu, the first driver outside the cutoff by 4 points. Saw a couple of laps with him on board at the Indy Road Course. Turn 7 was a big issue for him, and I feel like it's going to be a big issue for some of these guys because he just couldn't get the car slowed down in time, and it just went out into the grass. So I think Turn 7 is going to be a trouble spot for these guys tonight. Also got to take a look at Matthew Bell. Even though he is the 12th driver in the playoffs, he has the lowest average finish amongst the playoff drivers, sitting at just under 18th.
There's Matthew Bell on track right now. He's sitting 7th here in practice. Qualifying kicks off here in just a couple of minutes. And Hunter was mentioning turn number 7, Finian. Have a look at turn number 7 at the end of this long back straightaway. This is a challenging corner. It's very, very tight. It has a big curb on the inside apex. It's coming off of one of the fastest straightaways. The other corner everyone always looks at, and think back to the NASCAR race this past year in the real world, turn 1.
Yeah, turn 1 also another very heavy braking zone. These guys have got to get themselves slowed down, at least attempt to slow themselves down before. And it's, again, in a normal road car that normally makes right turns, it's pretty easy to slow down, just try to outbrake the other driver. Here you have to slow down a lot further, a lot more ahead of the corner than you think you do. And we'll see a lot of guys, I can predict we can see a lot of guys overshoot the braking zone, and if not, take out a fellow competitor, because you have to really jump on the binders here.
Yeah, again, going back to tricky turns in Cosmin Yonishiwu, there was a lap where he struggled slowing down, getting into turn 1, and he ramped over those curbs and got stuck in the tire barriers a few hundred feet down the track. So if you're going to have any braking issues going into turn 1, please do not hit the rumble strips. It acts as a ramp and will launch you into the sky.
On board now with Jake Nichols, who has a whole bunch of wins coming into the playoffs. He's feeling really confident about where he's at, but here's a look on board here, heading down towards turn number 1, 170 miles an hour, 173 before jumping on the binders, going down a couple of gears. One of the things that's going to help these drivers, as opposed to the Generation 6 car that we've raced previously, is the independent rear suspension, Eric Wineland, as well as a little bit wider tire and some more downforce thanks to that diffuser. So these cars road race a lot better, not even to mention that sequential transmission that will help these guys get through the gears.
Honestly, Kyle, the thing that impresses me the most is these guys will play with these master cylinders that are in the Cup cars now. The ability to basically change the braking bias via the setup without actually adjusting the brake bias dial. And I did hear up and down the garage that some guys, especially the top end, the fast guys, such as Ricky Springer, Jake Nichols, James Scioli, were messing with that adjustment a little bit to really try to dial in that braking. And honestly, with those guys, that could be the difference between first and second place and how well you can get through a braking zone. As you guys highlighted, turns 1, turn 6, turn 10. I mean, it's gonna be big getting down into these zones.
And Finney, we've watched a lot of road racing here on Sim TV with stock cars over the years, and getting on the brakes was a challenge in the past. That's sort of been solved, and though drivers are using the tools to try to maximize their braking power, the limit still exists on throttle. These cars still have 650, 700 horsepower here. They're going to struggle to put down power. Even with the weather conditions like it is, rear grip is still at a premium, and you have to be careful not to overheat those rear Goodyears before the race is over.
Yeah, that's really what separates the good road course drivers from the great road course drivers, is managing those rear tires with so much power, as you mentioned, that you have to deal with. It's so easy to just jump and just drive with the throttle on the rear wheels and use that to steer, but that's not the way you want to do it. Maybe on a restart with a few laps to go, sure, that's okay, but when you're trying to manage these cars over a long run, you want to save those rear tires as much as possible. It's a valuable resource you can use up very quickly if you're not careful.
Well, looks like qualifying is about to get underway, and don't think we'll see too many drivers take too long to determine if they want to put a lap down or not because of how long this road course is. Another thing that we'll have to look at a little later on in the race is pit strategy, because as we've seen earlier before, road courses this year no competition caution. So it's going to be green from start to finish. And you got to figure out when you want to pit. If you want to pit early or pit later on in the going, as we have a look at the points once more.
Yeah, just keeping this in mind as we head into these very short rounds, unlike the Real Cup Series where you got a handful of rounds to decide each group that goes home at the end of the couple rounds. Here we only have 2, so you got to make it count. So you can't have a bad round here in the road course. Though it's the only one we've had this season, it's still going to be one of the most important races for those drivers that are in this round of 12. Fans, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel for only $5 a month. You can watch all Area broadcasts commercial-free. You can also use new Area iRacing emotes in the chat. You'll also earn double channel points as a subscriber that you can use to redeem for free merchandise. Qualifying is underway. Finian, track position's hard to get here at Indy, so I think this will be a very important session for those, especially in the playoffs.
Yeah, this really will be because, obviously with the race, we really don't have a caution, really a chance of a caution coming out. So there's not really going to be a time where these guys are going to reset the entire field. So it's going to be from start to finish, and you're not going to have much chance to really get the field back together, make up for a mistake in qualifying. So you're going to want to get it done now, especially if you're not the best road course racer. You want to try to get that hot lap in and hope it sticks.
Well, speaking of hot lap and best road course racer, that last practice session, Ricky Springer had the quickest lap, and he's coming off a win from Talladega, which he needed in order to get him, well, not really needed, but it helped him lock himself into the postseason, was flirting with that top 20 cutoff with his win from Atlanta, but he got a win last week at Talladega, didn't have to worry about points. He's heading in the Indy road course with some pretty good momentum, Kyle.
Yeah, it's coming in with some great momentum, and obviously he was elated with his victory last week at Talladega. Gave him kind of a new lease on life, I think, for the playoffs. But Eric Wineland, this is a very different situation than Talladega last week. This is going to require finesse. Talladega last week, it was kind of an all-out brawl at times, but this week, it's all about driver mod here. The other thing is no full course cautions. So, you see the big lockup there at the right front heading into turn 12. So, with no full course yellows, green flag pit stops, and executing on pit lane, Eric Wineland, that's going to be very important.
Yeah, and there were a couple guys were practicing the pit road entries at the end of their runs through practice as we continue to watch Ricky put down a lap here. But I just love the racetrack and how technical it is in the infield section. A lot of these guys not used to the technical style road courses, but they did get a little bit of practice. Our road race this year in area was Sonoma, which is definitely more technical than a place like Watkins Glen. So Indy Road gonna, especially through the section that Bryce Senesac is approaching right here through turns 7 through 10, it's gotta be pinpoint precise and definitely not touch those curves, as you guys already mentioned, especially the ones that ramp you up. But strategy should be fairly straightforward, Kyle. Looking at hitting about halfway is probably going to be the best. Some guys will be on the top end and some will be on the bottom end in terms of short pitting or running it long to try to get an overcut. But I expect around the halfway mark going to be the best time to get a fresh set to run this race.
And this race is 40 laps long, so this is one of the shorter races on the Area Cup Series schedule in terms of distance and time. Without yellows, we're basically guaranteed this race to finish in just over an hour once you include the pit lane sequence here, Finian. So that means that this is the shortest race of the season, most likely in terms of time, but it's going to feel like one of the longest when the drivers are in there really working hard.
No, it's going to feel long for these drivers because it is going to be a green flag race start to finish, like we keep mentioning. So these guys are going to be constantly going up and down through the gears, making left, right turns, have to manage the car, have to deal with the car the entire time, pretty much without a break. Only time they really get a break is when they're going to make their pit stops, but that's basically about it. They're going to be 100% the entire time from flag to flag. So look at Ryan Hart's now coming out of the final corner. Let's see what time he ends up as the first few times trickle onto the screen.
Hartz is one of a few drivers who are going after multiple championships. Not only is he going after the Cup Championship, he's going for that Truck Series Championship, and tomorrow night they'll be at IRP for the trucks. And Lodge Box Series was there earlier in the season, and that was quite chaotic. I'm sure the trucks will be excited as that's where they'll kick off their postseason. There's Greg Mitchell in the 2, couldn't participate last week at Dega, and ultimately that led to him not making the postseason, but so far he's got the quickest time on the board.
For now, at least, half a second up on Rafe Slate. Keep an eye on Jake Nichols as well. With all the victories he's gotten this season, Finian, everyone's squarely pointed at Jake Nichols to try to take him down after dominating last season and most of this season. This is a place, though, that a guy that is really easy on tires is going to do well, even despite the cool temperatures. And Finian, Jake Nichols is probably the best driver in the field when it comes to tire management. I could see him maybe qualifying okay and then racing really, really well.
Well, I mean, he did win the only other road course we had this season for the Cup Series, and that was at Sonoma. Took home the win, qualifying a pole, and took home the win. So there's a lot to expect from this 91 to perform well here, as you see Michael Curran jump to the top of the board and look at Greg Mitchell currently sitting in second place in the 2-car.
Yeah, Jake Nichols in the 91. We saw he had the 5th quickest time on the board in practice, which that kind of shocks me, especially with how. Well, never mind. Forget everything I just said.
Whoa! Mitchell spins, guys. He was on a hot lap there in the number 2. He's looped it out of 13.
Just dethroned Nichols. Jake Nichols just got dethroned by Ricky Springer in 18. Mentioned it. He's going off that momentum from Talladega. He just dethroned Jake Nichols. I was going to say, he was one of the 4 drivers quicker than Nichols in practice. And looking back at Jake Nichols from last season and this season, as D'Elia locks it up going into turn 1, shoots the corner. Jake Nichols has led 72 of the 115 laps on road courses. We'll take a look at a replay here of D'Elia just locking it up, getting into turn 1, going too quick.
Yeah, this is just tough. It's once you lock the right front tire, or the left front tire for that matter, it's really hard to get it unlocked. And you saw the 22 go straight off in turn 1. We'll see that probably on the start. We'll see that probably all night long in some capacity, especially as the tires wear. But D'Elia will have to try again next lap to get a good run at it. But Springer, Nichols, the front row as it stands. Alan Ballacino's on track. Wow, big hop over the curb there in the infield there, because he heads down the back straight.
The one to keep your eye on is 4th after his first lap. Second lap, tires heating up, should be even better. James Scioli going down the backstretch right here. This is my guy that I think will win the race. Just too good on road courses in the stock cars. He tells me he's not much of a road racer, guys. He did run the Rolex 24, the iRacing version of the Rolex 24, just this past weekend in a GT3 car, but he said, no, not anywhere close to what the stock cars can provide me with the low grip style compared to the high downforce GT3. So James thrives in this set of conditions, and we're going to see right here whether he can actually put some oomph behind his words as he comes through the 11, 12, 13, 14 complex toward the start-finish line, guys.
Throttling back up here. This last corner is pretty challenging to keep the foot down as you swing through here. Not a ton of downforce provided by that tiny rear spoiler. Up onto the front straightaway, going the opposite direction to the Indy cars and towards the start-finish line. Will Scioli jump to the top at 127, 995, and to the top of the board goes the number 7 Finian.
And interesting to see, so we had a lot of guys here just getting in their fastest times, and Scioli fast by quite a bit. Seems to be about 0.184 gap back to Ricky Springer, and then Nichols surprisingly back in 3rd. It's almost kind of rare that we see Nichols further back than 2nd place. Really, he seems to be always near the top of the charts. It should be an interesting race between the 7, the 1891, all 3 very fast cars.
Yeah, Tyler Nichols was close to making the postseason as well, so we almost had 2 Nichols brothers inside the 12 playoff drivers. As look at Tyler now heading through turn 12, 13, and about to head in. Well, now he's going to head to pit road.
Yeah, he has not made a qualifying attempt yet, and it looks like he will bail on this attempt.
This is actually a good thing to point out too. These drivers may have wanted to try to at least practice pit road entry once, because it's a little bit of, you got to make a left turn, you got to make a right turn. You can easily mess it up and go overspeed and go flying to the wall, coming back onto the straightaway. Yeah, right there. So you're gonna want to be a little bit careful, and again, hope that they practice that, because they're gonna have to make a green flag stop at one point.
Well, interesting to bring up the pit road entry. I always thought the pit road exit was the challenging thing here.
Well, that too.
You can't quite see it here, but it's on the inside apex of turn number 1. We're going to bring you back over here, and we'll show you. The inside apex of turn 1, right off to the right side of the screen. You see that blue cone? That's where you exit. My brain screams at me every time I head down there and I see that curb. I want to go around it every single time.
Well, that's how it used to be.
Yeah, that's how it used to be, and now no longer. So, it really is a challenging thing to bake into your brain, and if you don't specifically train yourself to do that, Finian, it's going to catch a lot of drivers out tonight, I think.
Oh, I definitely think it'll catch at least 1 or 2 drivers out there not paying attention. But yeah, I think that I'm curious to see also if anyone messes with the pit road entry as well. Just to give multiple guys come in, one driver makes a mistake, they can even actually block the pit lane. That would be interesting to see.
Great sounds as well. The road racing aspect of driving the next gens really gives a good auditory impression of my experiences at racetracks. There's something about, I've never actually experienced a NASCAR race in person at an oval, so my only experience is hearing them go up through the gears and then back down through the gears, and hearing them here in iRacing at the Indianapolis Road Course is a nostalgic sound. I almost got to hear that pass by, but qualifying is over. Jeff Ryan will not get a qualifying lap in, and in just a couple moments, we're going to go racing here from Indianapolis. Eric Wineland, final thoughts before we ship you off to pit lane to get things started.
Hey, I'm excited for this one. Not only do we have a fight for the championship in the driver standings, but don't forget about that team championship too. Solar Flare just over 100-point lead if you can consider their highest and lowest finisher from each team throughout the race tonight. So keep an eye on the battle between Solar Flare and Jacob Bell Racing at the top of the team standings as well.
And Hunter, as we get into this 40-lap race, we've heard a couple people pick who their favorite is. The number 7 was on their list. Who you got winning this thing at the road course?
I gotta say it's a toss-up between Nichols and Skyley. They are the only two drivers who have been able to win on these road courses since season 2, but I'm kind of going to lean towards David Weishart in the 33. He's also kind of been second fiddle on these road courses, and if it weren't for Sonoma, his run-in with Travis Beckner, he would have had a better finish in that. And also, he took part in the Rolex 24 along with Jordan Martin, Jacob Bell, Garrett Grant, Bryce Senesac. They were all a part of the area number 3 in their class, and they actually got a 5th place finish in their class. So all those guys have had road course experience over the last 72 hours or so, but I'm going to keep my eyes on the 33 of Weishart. He's my pick.
All right, guys, heading down to the grid to get things rolling here in just a moment. Let's start our evening like we start our mornings with Roasted Gems Coffee. Fans, be sure to visit Roasted Gems Coffee for some of the finest coffee from all over the world. Use discount code AREA iRacing for 10% off your order at roastedgems.com. 31 drivers in this field, and it's all going to start with the guys up on the front row. And Finney, let's roll through our starting lineup here, kicking things off with row number 1. It's James Scioli in the number 7. Ricky Springer in the 18 starts alongside him.
Moving on back to row number 2, it's going to be Jake Nichols in the 91 in 3rd place, and David Weishart next to him in the 33 in 4th. And David, not too exactly optimistic about heading to turn 1, thinking that there's going to be a wreck coming.
Oh boy, Michael Corran rolls off in 5th in the number 24. He'll start alongside Travis Beckner's number 28. The Area 500 winner starts 6th.
Ray Slate's going to be lined up in 7th place in the 8 machine. Behind them, next to him, is going to be Greg Mitchell in the 2 car in 8th place.
No playoff competitors in that row. How about row 5, though? All playoff competitors. Ryan Hartz starts 9th. Dom DeLeo in the 22 starts in 10th.
Moving back to 11th, it's going to be Matthew Bell in the number 9 machine. Douglas Dubig in the 71 is going to be lined up in 12th.
In 13th place, it's Alex Weaver's number 4 and Gabriel Ellison in the number 27 Chevrolet.
Back in row number 8, it's going to be Bryce Senesac in the 09 machine. Cosmo Yoshi is going to be next to him in the 84 car in 16th.
17th place, Shane Abbey's number 12 Ford Mustang. Ed Robertson in his number 64 Rick's Hot Sauce Camaro starts in 18th.
Moving back to 19th, it's going to be Andrew Player in the 13 machine. Next to him, Jacob Bell in the 77 is going to be rolling off in 20th.
21st place is Alan Ballacino's number 70 Ford Mustang. Connor Okresic starts in 22nd in the 14 car.
Moving back to 23rd, it's going to be Jordan D. Martin in the 11 car. Doesn't seem to be on the grid at the moment. Tyler Nix will be next to him in the 41 in 24th.
In 25th place, it's Michael Sturgill's number 17 and Dwayne Culberson's number 81. He'll roll off 26th.
Moving back to 27 is going to be Chris Seidenfeld in the 45 machine. Mark Patterson's going to roll off in the 51 and 28th.
In 29th place, it's Jeff Ryan in the 37, and Delonte Ballard starts 30th in the number 21. And bringing up the rear of the field here is Garrett Grant in the number 5. Had some troubles in practice, didn't get a lap in qualifying. He will bring up the tail of the grid. Hunter Sleppy, as we roll through turn number 3 here on this pace lap, here's a look at our race analysis for the Area Cup Series. 40 laps, just about 93 miles, 31 drivers. It's going to be a fun one tonight.
Definitely be a fun one. I'm so excited for this initial start because going into turn 1, they're going to be spread. They're going to be at least 3 wide. I can't imagine someone from the back might make it 4 wide, but if IndyCar has taught us anything, it's always keep an eye on the tight turns on the initial start, and then you go through the little turns there in turn 2 through turn 6, and then down this long back straightaway.
Then you head to turn number 7, a heavy braking zone and a great passing opportunity, Finian, but any passing opportunity to road course is a trouble opportunity as well.
Oh, absolutely, and that's why it's going to be interesting to see these guys flying down into turn 1 in such a big group. Yeah, you got to think someone's going to be a little bit too optimistic, or someone's just going to flat out make a mistake, and it's going to be Wii Sports bowling down into turn 1, just collecting everybody on the way.
I hope it won't be like that, but this race, if it goes green from start to finish, well, it will, but without pit stops, will take about 58 minutes and 51 seconds. Add some pit stops. We'll be sitting around 1 hour in race duration tonight. Kyle Heyer with Hunter Slappy, Finney DeCuna, and Eric Wineland down on pit lane will be giving us updates periodically throughout the race. Rolling through the last couple corners here at the Indianapolis road course for the second time this season. We're going racing on a track with lefts and rights. 5 rounds in the playoffs, and this is round number 1. Here's another look, turn 12. This is another trouble spot. Getting the car slowed down under braking here without locking the right front is a massive challenge. Passing through here, even a bigger one. The pace car is going to pull off here, and then we're in the hands of Scioli and Springer for a little while longer, Finian, before we turn them loose.
Yeah, pace car is going to be off here. It's going to be a long little wait here for the field, all bunching up and getting ready to go.
Through the last corner under pace car speed, the first round of 5 in the 2023 Area Cup Series playoffs. This time the flagman's even facing the same direction. Here we go. Green flag flies. We're racing at Indianapolis. Whoa, lockup from the 33. Gets into the back of Springer in turn 1. Everybody tries to get through it. So far, so good. A little bit of smoke and lockup in the background, but I think we've gotten through it, Finian.
I was going to say, it was a bit of irony right there when Weiser was one that said he was concerned about an incident, almost caused an incident himself, as most of the field makes their way on through.
Did not expect the field to be this spread out for the initial start. Weishart almost creating a crash there, and remember, there's no caution, so if you wreck, you're putting yourself in the deep hole, especially if you're a playoff driver.
Oh, big jump for the 12 of Shane Abbey over the curb there at the chicane. Gathers it up and continues, but already some big moments there. And for the top spot there, Springer was pressuring Scioli, but just saw in the corner of my eye there, a long way down the back straight, and some side-by-side a little deeper in the field. Jacob Bell and the 64 of Robertson were door-to-door, give the spot to the 77, but all in all, pretty tame lap number 1, at least thus far.
Yeah, I saw Ray Slate make a bit of an opportunistic dive into turn 7, trying to take the overtake the 24 Michael Curran. Ended up missing and locking up. One of the first major lockups we've seen so far.
Turn 12, well, look at Balancino. Look at how low he's going. Turn 12 is going to be another key spot with all these lockups heading into the turn. Eric, what you got for us?
Hey, so you guys already mentioned that David didn't want to have an incident lap 1. Here's his radio to Ricky after turn 3.
Sorry, Ricky, I'm right there, lane still locked up.
So you guys are already mentioning how these guys are locking out. David prior to that, he said, man, I don't know where to brake. There were a couple expletives in there that I'm not going to play on the broadcast. He was not happy about the start. Also, you mentioned that the field is very strung out on the start. And so remember, there are no restart zones here at Indianapolis Road Course. So the leader could have gone from the moment the pace car left the racing surface until the start-finish line.
I forgot about that. Thanks, Eric. And yeah, no restart zones. That kind of throws the start in for a little bit of a loop, and that actually probably helped things to have the field strung out a little bit, Finian. You and I have both seen the starts of stock car races at road courses go a lot more poorly than that.
Oh yeah, I was going to say, it's kind of nice to have it, not have that, did not have to deal with that, and just have everyone just kind of spread out just a little bit more before turn 1, give themselves some more breathing room in just such a heavy braking zone. We already see turn 7 being the action spot with Cosmin Yoneshiwu. I think, no, not Cosmin Yoneshiwu, that
was right.
Oh, that was right, that was Cosmin Yoneshiwu dipping out of line, trying to pass Keeper Ellison. I thought it was Ryan Swan for a second.
Well, I don't know if he was trying to pass him. I think he was trying to avoid slamming into his bumper. Mentioned that turn 7 was a tricky spot for him in practice. So we have a battle for 5th between a couple of playoff drivers. Michael Curran in the 24 and Travis Beckner in the 28 going at it for the 5th spot.
Yeah, Beckner's trying to roll some better speed around the outside. You're going under 40 miles an hour through that complex. It's real slow. But very flat. You can get good mechanical grip on it, but looks like the 24 will hang on to that for now. Here's the 09 and the 12 side by side. They've done this a couple of times so far and haven't quite sorted out. Shane Abbey almost clips the grass there, coming back on to the front straight, and Delonte Ballard has had a little bit of a moment here.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've seen a lot of guys starting to track out more and more onto the final corner, and running into the grassy ballard, just completely missed the corner and running through. That's the motorcycle layout around Indianapolis. Don't want to be going to that hairpin. That's a little too tight for these cars. But yeah, but I'm noticing a lot of guys tracking out hard on the exit onto the front straightaway and almost clipping the grassy ballard. Try to look to the inside of Ryan, 37. Couldn't quite get there, so it'll be Ryan that'll hold on to that spot. You can see how long these guys are under braking as well.
That's with better braking performance, Hunter, that they've had in the past. It still takes a long time to slow down these 3,500-pound stock cars.
Indeed. It's been a problem all throughout real-life racing and even in the sim here. It's been an issue for some drivers, but some have able to gotten it figured out as Kern holding on to the 5th spot, so if Becker can try and close the gap.
David Weishart had another bit of a twitch under braking heading into turn 12. I don't think he's super comfortable in the braking zones just yet. And Eric touched on something earlier about the brakes, drivers adjusting braking force and master cylinders, just trying to see what feels better, what kind of performance they can get under braking. And that was very close to that front straightaway wall, Finian. But you're just pulling out all the stops. You don't have a lot of tools here in the fixed setup series, but you're going to try to find whatever you can.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's kind of what I was going to concern with. You saw Weiser tag the wall on the exit there. A lot of guys have been just kind of jumping on the gas and they've been tracking out slowly, and then also I've been noticing them get a little bit loose as well through that corner. So I think that could be into play, especially later on when the tires start to wear out. Oh, loose on entry a little bit for Weiser. You see this car squirm around a little bit as he's trying to catch and pass Jake Nichols. In fact, speaking of which, the entire top 7 have not changed positions except for Michael Curran, who made some passes back after losing 2 spots in the start.
Well,
you guys got Eric on the road back for you.
Yep.
That number 70 machine, Alan Balancino, +8 off the start. Here's radio from Fazekas Motorsports.
I thought I was dog water. Apparently not. We're just digging.
So Alan feeling very good about his chances so far. +8 off the start, and currently P13. He said qualifying. What is qualifying? That is not good for Dwayne Culberson.
Yeah, he is beached. He is stuck in the gravel.
You rarely see that in iRacing.
You rarely do see that. That's over at turn 3,
he's stuck in that transition. Right? He's stuck in that transition between the gravel and the grass.
Well, he's not going to get out of there without help from a teammate.
Yeah, I was going to say, he might have to reset. I don't think he's going to get out there at all.
Oh, man, that is a real big bummer for Culberson. Let's have a look here at what got... Well, we have to go back even farther. He's been sitting here for a little while. And, ooh, the little touch there from Garrett Grant. And they tangled together.
That's something.
Go back a little further. Was there more to this story, perhaps?
I don't think so. I think just kind of we're just fighting over the same piece of asphalt. Culberson got loose. There you go. Got in the grass trying to save it. And 5 ended up catching him, tagging him, a slow, lazy spin for both of them. In fact, Grant almost beached himself. I think just joined before that transition. I honestly didn't even know you could get beached in that particular spot, but there you go.
Yeah, he's right there. He stopped to check that the racetrack was clear.
He's like, oh.
And then he had to reset. So he is now back in pit lane, and Culberson's night is going to be a tough one. The 5 is back rolling in 23rd place, Hunter, but some dramas here in the early going.
Scioli Springer running away from the competition. I think Scioli just took the... No, he didn't take it. He started on pole. But Springer stayed in tow with him. Weishart and actually Curran just passed Jake Nichols for the 4th spot. Jake Nichols was quite a few ways back. He might have gone off course somewhere.
He might have. Actually, he's down. He was down about 2 seconds last time by.
Last lap in that same quarter in turn 12, he ran off the track.
We're almost back looking at it. Here's a look right there. Big lockup on entry. And just a little one, but that is enough to cost you quite a bit of time. Here's another look at it.
Yeah, especially after, again, that grass update in iRacing. It is hard to drive these things on the grass. It was hard before. It's almost impossible, and I have to be so careful to try to just swing the momentum without looping the car around. Nichols did a great job. Unfortunately, lost 2 spots in the process.
But now watch the right front tire here. He knows he's locked. He unlocks it, and then unlocks it again. He's trying to kind of do some ABS with his left foot there. It just did not work, did not stop, and he did lose a couple of spots. And Vinny, you're right with that grass adjustment. That has made it even worse. It already was kind of unrealistically slippery, even worse now. Eric Wineland, what you got?
Hey, so of note there, his point lead coming into tonight was 44 points. I don't think Jake is too worried about where he finishes, though he did just say in Solar Flare Racing that he wanted a top 5. Radio from the Solar Flare Racing group regarding Dwayne Culberson's high center on that curb.
Back up, Dwayne. Weave the car around. Huh? I said, I don't know, move your wheel back and forth or something. Dwayne's stuck.
So that was spotter Santiago Tires, or as we affectionately know, Santi, spotting Jake Nichols, but he was trying to help Dwayne out of that issue right there. Dwayne basically spun it, rolled it backward, and got high centered on that curb, and that was quite interesting. Something I've never seen before, guys.
Yeah, not here at least.
Alex Weir with a spin in turn 7 just a few moments ago. Looped around, lost a few spots. Seems to be a difficult corner for a lot of these guys. Didn't catch it on camera as well. Travis Beckner also made a mistake a couple laps ago. There's Weaver going for a spin. Managed to hold it on, didn't hit anything, but some trouble for some of these drivers, and the run's only just begun.
Yeah, we're just getting into the thick of it now, working lap number 7 of 40. But they're taken away pretty quickly here as Curhan now pressures David Weishart for P3 here, Hunter. So the battle is on here inside the top 5.
Indeed it is, and entering tonight's race, Michael Curran, who kind of went under the radar for some parts of the season. He's entered 8th, 4 points above the cutoff line. If he has a really solid performance here on the Indy Road Course, this could move him up quite a few positions in the standings.
Turn number 7, big curb hop there for the 33. That's one of the curbs that you kind of want to avoid. Almost a touch there as they work their way through 8 and 9. And then now turn 12, he's going to try to size him up, but Weishart was a little bit behind there in the steering, Finian, and he's wide.
I was going to say, Weishart's really struggling. He's using a lot more wheel to make some turns, and Weishart actually just waved the 24 on by. I was going to say, you can tell by the way Weishart is taking those corners, he's putting a lot more wheel, trying to force the car to rotate, while Curran had a much cleaner line through that section as the car is off. Is that Yonoshiu? I think it is.
Yes.
Yep. And it's over by turn 8 and 9, so he must have went off in turn 7.
Trying to go by Shane Alley.
Not quite successful.
So another little bit of a moment. We'll see a lot of this tonight, just single car things here and there. But it's just drivers pushing to find a limit. And once you've kind of got your track position established, you know, it's frustrating to not be able to move up any further. But, you know, pushing too hard, it's going to be a lot easier to lose track time and position than it is to gain it. That's for sure. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, we may not have found the limit, but we found Eric Wineland. Eric, what you got?
Hey, just one more update from pit road for you guys. Solar Flare Racing update. Wayne Culberson, after trying to get himself unstuck, when he reset, the motor blew up on him. So he is actually retired from the race because the motor blew up on pit road while he was towing. Also of note, they were talking fuel strategy. Just about 30 to 31 laps is what they estimate they can make a full tank here at Indy Road. So we're looking at probably adding about 10 gallons of fuel at some point throughout the race. And if it's seriously 30 laps as far as they can make it, expect the pit window to open in 3 laps time, gentlemen.
All right, big issue for Michael Sturgill down here at turn number 1, pulling the Ross Chastain maneuver here, and had to go the long way around.
I was going to say, actually, if he went a little bit further, he actually could have done the Ross Chastain maneuver. Actually, he went through Chastain went through the second wall. There was an opening in the wall. I was curious if iRacing closed it up. They did not. You actually could do that. Obviously, you would have to give up a huge amount of time, as Douglas Newbanks also ran into some issues. This is turn 4.
Yeah, turn 4 exiting, and he just kind of stopped, I think. But was there an issue here? Jumps the curb, and when it lands, it snaps. Okay. And does he get into the wall here? Yep.
Oh, yeah. That's a hard lick.
That's it.
And he stopped right in the middle of the track, too.
He will call it a night there. Eric Wineland on pit lane.
One more update for you guys. So someone did try it in practice. You cannot gain an advantage taking that access road.
Yes.
It does give you a 6-second slowdown. By the time you rejoin the track, you still have 4 seconds to give back up. You cannot try the Ross Chastain line through turn 1 and 2.
Dang it. I guess we haven't been to Martinsville since he did the Martinsville thing either, have we?
No.
There is also a rule in the area rule book that outlaws you from running the wall. Cameron Hearn got nailed with that one last season.
All right, good to know. Cars jumping the curbs here in the infield section. Out front, it's still James Scioli. He has led every lap so far. Ricky Springer's keeping him honest, though, guys. Only 1 second back, Finian. And at times, he's been a little quicker, but they are basically matching each other's pace right now.
I was going to say, Springer has to be careful. He's definitely pretty quick in that 18 machine, but can't abuse and use up his equipment. I mean, like you mentioned, he has a chance of winning and getting past James Scioli, but he's got to manage his stuff. Who was just seen the 37 of Ryan just hit the wall. I was looking at a completely different instance, but Ballacino also running into some issues.
Up the curb.
Got over the curb at 7.
And there's
There's
Ryan.
the 37.
That was entering, well, I don't think he was intentionally entering pit lane, but that was the pit lane area, and he just ended up in the wall.
Okay. Sure.
That was my reaction too when I saw that.
He's still
we
there.
Saw the track. Oh, dude, he had to back up and go around the wall.
Oh, man.
It's not been a good race for Jeff Ryan. Let me
Mark
tell you
Patterson,
that.
guys, this is just turning into mess
Yeah,
here.
I'm not surprised because
Well,
the tires are starting to wear out now.
The yellow would have been out 7 times already. We're only 10 laps in.
Yeah, right here. Watch 51. Bet you. Well, no, he just actually locks it up. I wonder if it was a bad rev match or something. But spun the car around. Kept it on the road though. At least he didn't have to do the grass dance getting back on course. But as the tires wear, the 7 is slightly increasing his lead. Now 1.4 seconds, which is the largest it's been so far tonight.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're about halfway from when we expect these guys to come down to pit lane. I'll be surprised if anyone does anything then come down in lap 20, give it a little bit of gas, and get some force fresh Goodyears. I'm sure some of them would love nothing more to put on the car.
Well, looking in the back there, you just saw that's Michael Kern. He moved up to 3rd over the last few laps or so, passing the 33 of Weishart. I would keep an eye on him. I know my pick was Weishart, but it was honestly a toss-up between him or Kern. But Kern's really starting to impress me on this road course, even though he's over 4 seconds back from Springer. I would keep an eye on him as a dark horse to win this race.
I was gonna say, I just saw Alan Chino retire back in turn 7 yet again. Around he goes for a loop. Doesn't hit anything, but I think he decided that enough is enough.
Battle for 6th place. Travis Beckner under fire from Rafe Slate. Now these guys have had their differences in the past, and road courses are a great place to continue rivalries, guys. So far, so good. Right?
Yeah, Stody's had his fair share and giving back payback on a road course. Slate's getting awfully close to the bumper with the 28. I'm curious, I can't imagine you want to pick fights, especially at this point.
No.
Especially not when you're in the playoffs and the other guy isn't. He's got nothing to lose.
That is true.
But we'll see. You never know. These drivers still find a way to surprise us.
I mean, Rafe Slate has no reason not to pick a fight. The 28 does, though. That's usually how most fights start. One guy wants to fight, the other guy doesn't. Then you have a fight.
Well, we'll see. There could definitely be a chance of a fight this race, depending on how hard Beckner fights Slate for this spot. And I'm sure Slate wants to fight hard because, again, like we mentioned, he's in the playoff and Slate isn't. So I don't think he's going to be too kind to try to king up this spot to the 8.
Tom DeLeo following as well. Closing in here at turn number 13. Look up the inside. That's a big dive, and he jumped on the binders just a little bit. Beckner opens up the wheel, gives him some space, and they climb up onto the front straightaway.
I was going to say, I'm a bit surprised he didn't just kind of wait in tow and then kind of get a little bit of slipstream. It's not a whole lot to work with, but it's better than nothing, and I'm not sure if he's going to be able to dive in deep enough now as he gets back in line as he dives on the brakes for turn 1.
Very close to that bumper. Could push him out of the way if he wants to, but then again, Slate, the highest of those not in the postseason. Beckner running 6 on the track, having a solid run so far. Needs all the points he can get. After Jake Nichols in the points, it's very slim for those second on back.
Good battle here that's shaping up as we work our way past the 1/4 mark. We're at lap 12 of 40. And Slate offsets to the left, getting the mirrors of 28, but he does not bite. But these guys running pretty solidly right now inside the top 10. Big cut there for the 28. That corner will snag you. In the stock cars, you can get a lot of car over that inside curb, but it lets you get aggressive with it, and that's sometimes dangerous because you kind of get greedy at times.
Yeah, I'm trying to debate if they made it more lenient or stricter.
I think they made it more
update.
lenient only because there's a bigger curb there now, so I think that helps.
Right. So yeah, so I think that's what we're seeing here is you see the 8 getting very close to diving into that final quarter. He's playing with inches and playing with fire. We'll see which one he comes across first here as they go flying down into turn 1. We'll see if he's got any better of a run. Not quite.
Well, the only time we'll tell here is they're slowing up. Nope. I thought he was going to lock him up again in the back. We've seen quite a few drivers do that tonight at different parts of the track, but not the case here with Rafe Slate as Tom DeLeo is lurking in the background.
Now, while this battle continues, Ricky Springer is slightly eating into Scioli's lead, gained 0.4 of a second last time by. Trouble for Grant and Robertson. This is at turn number 13, it looks like. Let's have a look at what happened back here.
It didn't look like Robertson had anything to do with it. I think one driver just went flying through the corner there.
Here at Grant.
Motorcycle layout. And
then when he comes
took
back
half
here,
of it
though,
and then bailed out.
oh, Robertson had to jump on the brakes to miss him. That's why I saw him turn red. But
I mean, that's one way to make the corner. Or shortcut it.
That's a way.
that's making the corner?
I mean, technically.
Never let his foot out of the gas, that's for sure.
Working lap 13. We've had a couple chances to look at our SimWrap Market replay. Fans, be sure to check out simwrapmarket.com for custom iRacing paint scheme templates that are simple to use and help you stay more focused on the racetrack.
You know what, speaking of focus, we might want to focus on that battle for the lead. It's been closing the last few laps or so between Scioli and Springer. He's eating in at that lead just a little bit more. Around half a second now separating the two.
And to add on to Hunter, I've been looking at Scioli the last few corners. That tail end is looking a little bit too happy compared to Springer, whose car is looking more planted as you look back at the battle quickly between Beckner and Slate. Now back to the battle up top. So Springer really starting to close in here as they get past the lap car Jacob Bell. And that he actually, since we started talking about it, he closed in 2/10.
Yeah, he really seems to like the road racing here, and in the long run is definitely benefiting him. He's been matching Scioli's pace, and we weren't sure if he was clinging to it or just kind of toying with Scioli and kind of biding his time. It appears that the latter is true. While these guys battle, it is even closer between Beckner and Slate down here into turn 7.
I saw Slate looking to the inside in turn 7. Ooh, Beckner leaving the door open. I'm surprised he swung out like that. He left a perfect door open for Slate to stick his nose. He's not careful. That he's going to punt him at some point.
Well, I think Slate knows the situation that Beckner's in. Doesn't want to get in him or send him, at least not yet. Unless he gives him a reason to.
Oh, there he goes.
Oh,
Dive
and a
into
little too
turn
hot.
that's
12.
tight. Wow.
Oh, man. I thought that was too much from Slate, but it was just the right amount. Now he's going to try and cross him up on the outside. Not going to work here.
I love this track. I think this track race is so great. Onto the front straightaway.
It really does. The widening of these corners and just the adjustments that they made to the layout in general are really, really good for stock car racing. They got rid of a lot of the technical, very slow corners that would string out the field a little bit more. And now we get some great passing opportunities here, and get to see some great side-by-side action between these two. Almost a bumper-to-bumper action between these two into turn 1.
Close, but not yet. At least not for now. Here comes Slate looking to the inside now in the middle of 3 and 4. Very tight here. Side by side through 5 and 6 is not going to work.
Single file.
Oh, nope. Big cut there for Slate. He'll have to give back some time.
And meanwhile, DeLeo's closing in.
I'll take that. Thank you very
Boy,
much.
look at him go. Look at DeLeo go.
Up the middle. Here he comes.
He's going. Oh, that might be a little too much.
Boy, he got it slowed down somehow, guys. That was aggressive. And for the lead.
Slate still has to slow down, actually, too. He's up, finally gotten rid of it, so he's back in the fight. As you mentioned, battle up in top between these two. Springer is pretty much there. Scioli is struggling. You can see how much he's struggling to get through some of these slower, more technical corners. Ricky Springer looking a lot faster to come out of the final corner.
Boy, this is going to be big for Springer, even with his second win. Only +6 to the cutoff line, entered 7th in the standings. If he could get a win, that would be 2 in a row, and pressure off of him, and he can focus on the next round at hand. So we got Eric Wineland with another update.
Hey guys, down here on pit road, I got some radio for you from Jacob Bell Racing, Ryan Hartz at Robertson, talking what they're going to do for pit road green flag pit stop.
Man, I don't know how tire wear really is, but it's something you think you can get them later on.
I'm running the best laps of my race right now, so that's why I don't think we should take tires. I don't know. I really don't know. What did we do at Sonoma?
To be honest, I feel like there were people that didn't take tires.
Yeah, I don't know.
So the debate is on right now amongst most teams that I went through, but that was the biggest one right there in Jacob Bell Racing as we continue to watch Ricky Springer put the pressure on James Scioli for the lead.
And got a great exit here out of turn number 10 and heading now to catch the 37 of Jeff Ryan. But Springer's just able to get ahead of Scioli in the steering. They're going to catch 37 in the tightest spot on the racetrack here, 12, 13, 14. Could this be an opportunity here? Also, could the 7 dive to pit lane? No, he's going to stay on track this time. Ryan goes off in front of him.
Will.
I was going to say, Ryan's found familiar waters, almost going to the pit wall again.
Is he committing this time at least? Yes.
No, he's not. He's not.
He just wanted to get out of
slowly
the way.
meandering around it again.
Defensive line here from the 7.
Yeah, he's been going defensive the last few times trying to break away from Springer. He's expanded the gap a little bit, but that 18 is still mounting some solid pressure. Meanwhile, that triple car battle between Beckner, DeLeo, and Slate Matt for 6th place is still brewing between those 3 cars.
They're not too far separated as we move on back, but now they're going to catch the lap car of Andrew Player in the 13. Well, they're a little more spread out now than what they were a few laps back, but seems like Beckner got the best of that battle, trying to leave DeLeo and Slate behind. Also looking at Matthew Bell running in the 9th spot, solid for him, and Greg Mitchell rounding out the top 10. Shane Abbey had a little off-road incident over there in turn 12 and 13.
Here's a look at it into turn 12. Was just in a little bit hot, grabs the grass, and then off to the right on the exit. Just kind of a standard turn 12 off here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Back for the lead. It started to look hot up there as well. Springer trying to get a great run off the corner. Trying to catch Scioli now. Makes up a little bit of time. You have to let off the gas. Can't quite go full throttle in these cars. Into turn 12. Just waiting for the opportunity. I'm curious if he's going to maybe try to either make the pass now or maybe wait for pit stops.
I thought he was going to go to pit road that time by, but I guess we should see some of these guys come in at around lap 20 if they really want to try and undercut the rest of the field. Ooh, Springer looked a little wide there. The lap car, I believe that is deciding fine getting out of the way.
Into turn 1. Springer's just dogging him right now, and Scioli's having to work pretty hard to stay in front. And that's only going to hurt Scioli. He's just got to really be calm and cautious, and the worst thing that could happen is just overdrive and burn up your tires or make a mistake and fall backwards. Now, they have a pretty stout advantage over Cran in 3rd. It's 5 seconds back to him. But he's working pretty hard to keep this 18 behind him here, Finian, and he's doing a great job at it so far. But I'll tell you, Ricky Springer is keeping the attack on his defense.
Oh, there's also an attack going on for that 3-car battle for 6th place. They're all nose to tail for a second into turns 1 and 2. That battle brewing really tightly as well. But also one thing I wanted to ask you guys is for pit stops, what Eric mentioned, do we think that we're going to see guys take tires? Because it seems like some of these guys really could use fresh tires.
So the lap time difference isn't enormous, that's correct, but I think it's different enough. Scioli's last lap was a 29.1, his best is a 28.4. Springer ran a 29.0, his best is a 28.6. So not as different for Springer, but I think 4/10 is worth a lot over the course of a run as we got these guys dogging each other down at turn 7.
Slate got into the grass trying to get around DeLeo, but he kept the car going straight. I'm going to say no, don't take tires. I would say fuel only is the way to go. Seems like it's really a track position race, even though there are some small difference in the lap times. But if Sonoma or road course racing in general with the Gen 6 told me anything, it is that track position is key. You can make passes, although it's more difficult now with the next gen car. So I would take fuel only, no tires.
What kind of obsidian rock hard tires did Goodyear bring that we're not taking tires of road course, guys?
I don't know. Well, Eric, do you have any more word on the strategy?
I don't have any word on strategy for you, Finian, but I can tell you tire wear is absolutely a thing. They are not rock hard. But
okay, great.
It might just be the time saved from not taking tires. Or if this were like the Australian supercars, maybe you would only want to take the rears with how much they wear from spinning as you get on the power. But radio from David Weishart Racing, James Scioli not too impressed with the people out in front of him.
I feel like I've been a good lap car.
Well, you were fine.
Okay.
It's just everyone else that doesn't want to get out the way for some reason.
That was Chris Seidenfeld and his teammate, who has made his green flag pit stop truly the only actual green flag pit stop we've had in the race. Everyone else has been making them for damage or just general mistakes like Jeff Ryan did. But he said Chris has been fine because Chris is getting out of the way at the right spots. But man, James is not happy with the other lappers out here, especially when they don't know that they are being lapped, such as Delonte Ballard was when he was the first car put 1 lap down early on in tonight's race.
See that frustration brewing. I think a lot of that is because of the pressure that Springer has been applying. To Scioli's credit, Springer has not yet tasted the lead out front, Finian, but he is so close, and Scioli has to be absolutely perfect. If he is not, he's going to lose this lead.
Oh, absolutely. And again, I imagine he's starting to feel just a little bit of pressure from the 18 in behind, because he's been tracking behind him so close every single lap. No matter what he did, what he's tried to do, what he can do, can't quite seem to shake that 18 off, and that pressure is starting to mount. And also now another driver mounting pressure. Matthew Bell's caught up to our little trio that's been constantly fighting amongst themselves, and now he's tracked down Dom DeLeo, trying to see if he can make a pass. Currently in 9th, has a chance to get up to 6th because he's faster than the 3 guys ahead of him at the moment.
Yeah, closing in on the 22 of DeLeo, although things have subsided from 6th on back, well, at least 6th through 8th. But Matthew Bell, he is trying to make some quick work here of DeLeo, going a bit wide there through turn 4. Now going to head through 5 and 6 and down the back.
Up front, it's just half a car length between Springer and Scioli. I have a feeling that this battle is going to continue like this for a while. I also think that, here he goes up the inside down at turn 12. Big dive by the 18. He's going to muscle his way alongside the 7. Now into turn 13, advantage number 7 on the inside. Can Springer wrap the outside here and keep the throttle down? He cannot. Loses the rear end and tucks back in line.
Yeah, I think he went way too wide to the right-hand side of the track, trying to get a turn in and just kill all those momentum that he had on the 7s. He's going to have to try again. Into turn 7, speaking of which, though, he made a fantastic dive to make up a huge amount of time to catch up to the back of that 7. So he's definitely on the attack and start. And if he wasn't mounting pressure before, he definitely is now, showing that he can start to make moves on the 7.
There's Yonishiwu coming down pit road. I was going to say he was going to be right in front of that battle and just stuck down pit road. Pitted up around halfway, so we got 20 more laps left, and he's going to be good to go the rest of the way on fuel. See where he ends up, and there's Garrett Grant in the middle of this battle. Woof! Woof! As he gets out of the way.
Not the only sound I could use to describe that scenario. Though that chicane is such a kind of, bring up the Harry Potter reference here, it's a very swish and flick chicane. You're kind of just straight lining it through the curbs and kind of bouncing off of them.
There's the 37.
Oh man, that
I think
made me
we've seen
nervous.
Jeff Ryan more on the grass than on the track this race.
He's struggling tonight.
Yeah, he is definitely struggling, but he's struggling at parts of the track that other drivers are struggling at, so it's not just him. Seems like turn 1, turn 7, and turn 12 are the toughest parts on the track for drivers to go through. And looking at that leaderboard, the gap's gone down a little bit between Curran and Springer. It was around 5.5 seconds back. Now he's closing in to less than 4 back on the top 2.
Whoa, both these guys leaving track marks out of the final
they
corner.
are driving so hard right now. And I'm not sure if they're just driving hard to just because they're battling or if they're just really out of tire. But Springer just ran a lap that was only 0.2 off his best of the race. And right now, I think he's still a little ahead of Scioli on raw pace. If he had the track position, I do think he'd be putting some distance on the 7, especially if he'd done that pass a couple laps ago at turn 12. But every time he takes a lunge at it, he burns up his stuff and gets his tires hot, has to cool it down for a minute. Remember, guys, it's cool by Indianapolis standards, but it's not necessarily the coldest it could be. We've seen track temps in the 60s and 70s. 85 is, you're still going to be getting hot tires by skating around a whole bunch. And this track has no banking or anything of the sort. You're relying entirely on the mechanical grip and the sidewall of the tire to flex to get you all your grip.
Yeah, and also I mentioned Travis Beckner mistake a few moments ago into turn 12, ran a little bit wide, lost 2 spots, back down to 8th now.
Well, now he's behind DeLeo. And again, 2 playoff drivers going at it. And every spot is a point. Every point matters once it's the postseason. So Beckner going to try and regain some ground and try to get around the 22 as Robertson lets them go. And got Eric Weiland back for an update.
Hey guys, the first to flinch is Shane Abbey. Shane Abbey pitted from the top 15. He's currently just reaching his pit stall way down from me. I'm up here toward the front part of the field. I'm in, like, I think David Weishart's pit right now. But Shane sitting there. I don't see the jacks going up on the 12 guys. It looks like fuel only. Stop time 11 seconds. So no fuel for that 12 car. Might be the first of seeing the stops that don't take tires to get to the end of the race. As Shane's gonna roll right by me here. Yeah, no fuel or no tires, just fuel. See how that works out for the 12.
What a weird world we live in. Man,
Yeah,
every stock car race on a road course for the last 5 years in iRacing, if you ask me how I wanted tires, I always want tires. But tonight, that seems to be not an automatic decision. So especially for Scioli and Springer, it's crucial for those guys to get it right, because Curran and Weishart, if they don't take tires and the front two do, then they might lose this race. But if they do take tires and the others, if they don't take tires and the others do, they're close enough that advantage could come back to haunt them here with only about 15 laps to go after their pit stops, assuming. But that is still a big gap to make up, even if it's only 3 or 4 tenths a lap. Here comes the 18 again up the inside. A little contact.
Whoa, oh, yeah, a little bit of contact. Almost as the 18 spinning. Recovers. He's still alongside. Going to try to get back to the 7. He taps him a little bit in the quarter panel. Some beating, some banging here as they go through the final corner.
That was a really critical moment.
He shut the door on it that time in 13. And
he had to.
Boy.
He had to shut the door, because if the 18 had gotten to his inside, it's game over. He's got that spot, Eric.
There's the mute button. One more thing for you guys. The debate that I talked about in Jacob Bell Racing Channel with Ed Robertson and Ryan Hartz, Ed decided for tires. And here goes Ricky Springer on the inside of James Scioli, guys.
Yeah, took a big dive down there at turn 1, but it was that battle going into 12. They got pretty spicy, and here comes the 18 again to the quarter panel fitting. It's getting hot.
Oh, he's getting hot. He's definitely getting hot. It's definitely getting spicy there. Springer's starting to make moves in places where you really don't think you can make a pass. I think they're just trying to see if Scioli will flinch and make a mistake. Here he goes down to the turn 7. He's got a great run. Can't quite outbreak the number 7. Will pull back in line.
Smart decision. Smart decision. He's going to close in on the bumper anyways. They go through the S's. Just remember, if anything happened to these front two, Michael Curran is lurking. He's around 4.5 seconds back, but like I said, if anything happens to these two, here comes Springer.
Springer was spinning out, trying to get on the gas.
Well, there was the lap car of Tyler Nichols there too. I'm not sure if there was a reaction to that as well.
Oh, he's in
here
hot.
He comes.
Boy, almost hit him. Wow, this is a great battle here. This is why I love road racing, guys. This is fantastic stuff. Springer and Scioli leaving it all out on the line right now. And Springer's definitely overdriving a bit, but he tasted the lead for a second and wasn't able to hang on to it.
Yeah, an update from pit lane. Matthew Bell has come down to make his one and only stop. Only 7 seconds in the box, the shortest stop of anyone so far.
We're not done yet. This is getting good. I hope these guys never have to pit.
Or if they pit, I mean, they could pit together. That would make it.
It's not ruin racing. That's my opinion that I just decided right now.
Just don't pit.
Don't pit. No tires, just gas. I'm a one-man show.
Well, I mean, they basically are doing no tires, just gas at the moment. That's what the strategy's looking like. Because you would think if they were going to pit for tires, they would have come in already.
That's my strategy. No tires, just gas.
Scioli, Springer leading the way, 0.2 seconds. Brake rotors glowing. And this is where Springer is a little bit better. He just gets ahead of Scioli here in the steering. Corner's a little tighter, a little later turn in, Finian, and that's where he's able to kind of wrap this right here. Turns in a little later, he can get on throttle a little sooner, but Scioli did an excellent job that time getting out of turn 10.
I honestly think that Springer is close enough that it would be advantageous for him to probably come down pit lane, because I would argue he's the faster of these two. And if he came in, got some clean air, could end up passing the 7 down pit lane. We saw Scioli move to the right, thought he was going to come down. He's not. He's just going defensive. Springer back on the left side.
Oh my goodness. This battle just won't stop. And
here we go.
Right by Eric.
Oh, he's going to have him here. Scioli slips up on the banking, and now side by side down the front straightaway here at Indianapolis. Drag race to turn 1. Who's going to flinch first? Who's going to jump on the brakes first?
It's going to be Springer that jumps on the brake first. Scioli a little bit later, but defending on the left-hand side. That's not quite going to work. And Springer is clear for the lead for the first time this race.
Wow, that was many laps of the making there, Hunter, and he finally got it done.
Well, I think this might open the door for these drivers to come down pit road. I think Scioli might make a pit stop after that, try undercut the 18. And there's the 22 coming down pit road right now.
Pit lane is a busy place at the moment, Eric Wineland.
Yeah, guys. Ryan Hartz came down for his stop. No tires on that one. I did not see anything on the 4 of Alex Weaver as well. I got Dom DeLeo coming at me here as well.
Michael just spun out. Sorry to cut you off. There he's in the background of the shot.
Wow.
And none other than turn 7.
Well, he did. I did not see the jacks go up on the number 3 car, guys. So that was hot tires, just probably out braking himself, or perhaps a wheel hop on the downshift. Dom DeLeo, though, I think I saw the jacks go up on that to number 22. So it looks like he decided for tires. Maybe the guinea pig for Ricky Springer here, because that Ricky Springer, Zekas affiliated, not a part of the team, but hanging out with them and sharing information. So Dom's going to see how things go on fresh tires for the 18 and figure out probably what the 18 strategy is going to be now that he has the lead over James Skyley. One more bit for you guys from Dom DeLeo, actually, on the radio. Listen in.
Travis.
Dive bomb you.
Yeah, and then he completely missed his braking zone.
He was not too impressed with Travis Beckner. That was just 2 laps before Dom DeLeo decided to pit.
Oh, the 3 cars off again at turn 1, guys. Man, again, hot tires, Finian. You cooked him once, you loop it, you get grass all over him, go down to the next big corner and loop it again. So he's back on course, but losing lots of track time.
Yeah, I was going to say, you see him really slow there is because he had to give up a massive slowdown. He got a really big slowdown in that part of the track because it is very easy to cut, and the iRacing knows that people love to take advantage to do the Ross Chastain line down there. So even that little bit of a cut, and that's a really big slowdown penalty. So finally back underway. But I was going to mention this 3. We haven't talked about Ryan Hart's whole race long, and he's struggling a little bit before, and now he's really struggling now, back at 14th.
Well, he entered plus 14, third in the points heading into tonight's race, so a little bit of a gap, better than some, like DeLeo, who's only had a plus 8 point gap heading into tonight, but not looking good so far for the 3 of Hearts.
Whoa,
maybe I'm not sure if he pitted yet. Oh, Skyoli? Oh,
yeah, he's struggling for traction out of turn 12. He was really squirrely on the gas. You'll see him right here.
Watch his
hands. Loose at the apex, and then on the exit, really loose.
I would think it would be time for the 7 to come down pit road this time by. Like Eric mentioned, they're closing in on the fuel tank here, looking at around 30 laps or so. Getting close to that.
Yeah, almost out of fuel at this stage for the number 7, but the bigger reason is that he's losing time now. He's lost about a second to Ricky Springer. The largest gap that he had over Springer at any point is about 1.5 seconds. And Springer's about to do that on him at the more crucial half of the race. As we get close to about 10 laps to go, you see, wow, the 7, big awkward jump over the curbing here. It's been a pretty spicy race so far. Fans, be sure to check out rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Be sure to follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see who will take home the $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings. Eric Wineland on pit lane.
Hey guys, so I need to clean something up. Your pit reporter goofed. He watched Cosmin Yonoshiwu take tires on his pit stop, not Dom DeLeo. Dom is out here after stopping for only 8.3 seconds to get fuel only. So Fazekas actually is still in the dark on whether they should take tires or not. Rafe was actually trying to beg for some information out of myself, which I told him no. But yeah, Fazekas not sure whether they should or should not take tires, but Cosmin Yonoshiwu was the one. Yes, I'll take tires, not Dom DeLeo. Greg Mitchell hitting his pit stall right now. And boys, I don't see the jacks going up on that number 2 car either. As the leaders come to pit road.
I was just going to say, leaders hit pit lane. Springer and Scioli, nose to tail. There's David Weishart going on by. He has not pit yet. Curhan takes over the lead, though.
I'm really surprised that Scioli followed Springer in. I figured he would have stayed out a lap or just done whatever the opposite that Ricky Springer did. And just to get some clean air, see if he can try to catch back to the 7, because I don't think he's going to fare much better sticking behind the 18 than if he were just kind of have a lap by himself.
No, I think he might take tires here. If he was struggling with the tires as bad as he was when 18 got by, he might take tires. Although, wouldn't surprise me if both these guys are fuel only.
Right in front of me.
Oh, he's going to feed him out.
Fuel only for both drivers, guys.
And the 7 beat out the 18, so Scioli will get back by the 18 of Ricky Springer with a shorter pit stop, 1 second less fuel, Finian, as they exit pit lane and back on the racetrack.
I was going to say that had to be fuel because, there's a little bit of randomness with these pit stops, so not that much. So I think Scully cut out a little bit of gas. I guess figured he can go a little bit less on fuel. Almost ran wide in turn 4, though, so heading into the chicane.
I don't know, Kyle, I don't know if you can get the replay pulled up, but I think I know where Ricky lost all of his time. He came into the box way easier than James did, getting stopped in the box, and James was able to make up a little bit of time there as they came in for their fuel. Ricky was pretty nice and easy. James charged it even though he was in his pit stalls, or running through the pit stalls, and that time right there is where James made up quite a bit. Maybe a little shorter fuel as well, and that's giving Scioli the lead.
Yeah, pretty critical moments. And with how close it has been, now Ricky Springer has to do the hard work all over again. The last thing he can do, though, Finney, is panic. He was quicker than Scioli at the end of the run. They're on the same tires they were on when he made that pass. He just has to collect himself, go back, and run him back down again. We will be coming to 10 laps to go next time by. David Weishart is leading. He has yet to pit. Jake Nichols is second. He has yet to pit. And Travis Beckner is yet to pit. Other than that, everyone's going to cycle back and, in theory, put the 7 and 18 right back on top.
Yeah, they should be right back on top. Everything sorts themselves out. I'm sure Springer's probably really irritated the fact that Scioli got ahead of him. Actually, Scioli just manually disconnected. He just manually disconnected.
Uh-oh. What happened to the number 7?
Yeah, nothing happened. He was just driving down the straightaway, and then he disconnected. And I thought, okay, maybe his internet went out for a little bit. But then I looked at the chat and saw James Scioli, client, has manually disconnected. We'll see him right here in just a few seconds.
Why would that have happened, guys? That's bizarre. Just
right
gone.
there.
Huh? I'm at a loss for words. I don't know.
Yeah, because usually if it's like an internet issue or power issue, they'll disconnect and you won't see the message. So Eric, you got any word for us on the James situation?
I have the answer for you, and it's not great. James Alda Ford, he did take less fuel than Ricky Springer.
Not enough.
It was not enough to make the end of the race, so he has chosen to just go ahead and give up.
I had a hunch on that.
Your hunch was correct. Bryce Senesac was the one that was able to confirm that for me from David Weishart Racing.
That is frustrating, but it was a risk.
A bit of a nuclear option. I'm surprised they didn't just stick around and just, you pit a little bit and you lose a few spots to see a battle between the 22 and the 9. DeLeo attacking Bell here.
Guys, that's critical because, remember our playoff series in pretty good shape, but you don't want to be having results at the bottom of the playoff grid every round. That's not going to do you any good.
Well, no, and each round is only, I was going to say, each round is only 2 races. So now he puts himself in a must-win situation for Vegas, I would assume, because he entered 6th in the standings tonight, only at a gap of +7. So he's ultimately going to get a bad finish. I'm still at a loss for words of why Scioli did that. In my opinion, I would have just wrote it out, and if I had to top off on fuel, I'd top off on fuel.
Looking at the way they're running, so it's about 51 seconds in pit lane. That would have put him out at around 9th or 10th place, which is not the best, but it's far from finishing all the way down, and I think probably 22nd, 23rd is where he's going to end up at the moment with the way things are running.
Yeah, so Finney, you described it best, the nuclear option there. That was hitting the red button probably a little prematurely. But back watching some battles here for 12th. This is Tyler Nichols and Shane Abbey. Nichols still has yet to pit. And he's going to have to slow down because he needs to hit pit lane, and he is going to... No. Going to stay out again.
Lap.
Up front, though, Travis Beckner was leading. He's going to hit pit lane. Come on down. That will turn the lead back over to Ricky Springer. And I have to wonder how Ricky feels about that. I'm sure he would have loved to have the 7 take the right amount of fuel and battle it to the end like they were. That was such the battle of the century there on the road course here at Indianapolis. And now I'm sure he's not going to be complaining about a multi-second lead, but not going to be quite as dynamic as it was before.
No, I'm sure he's going to probably feel like he definitely did. He made the pass under green, so he can't really say he didn't or anything, but I'm sure he's going to feel, a little disappointed in having such a grandiose battle with the 7. Have to retake it again, but has done a solid job. And this 18 car, we have to talk about him for quite a bit because for most of the season, he was very much a non-factor. He had that win in Atlanta that got him some points, but then struggled to just make it in the top 20 in points. Got the win last week at Talladega to secure his spot in the playoffs, and now he's looking at leading the playoffs off with another win at a completely different track, mind you, too. His only other 2 wins came at Atlanta, which is now effectively a super speedway, and at Talladega, which is another super speedway. Now here he has a road course, which is probably one of the most technical things you can do in these cars, and he's out here leading.
The craziest thing, guys, was he won last week. The previous top 10 that he had was his last win in November at Atlanta. His finishes between those 2 races, 31st, 25th, 14th, 13th, and 18th. So it has not been that great of a season. The win got him in at Atlanta, and then he just has been crushing it since Talladega. So Hunter, he's putting himself in a pretty awesome spot to have a much better playoffs than his regular season, a la Tony Stewart 2011.
Yeah, I would say it's what it's looking like. If he can win another playoff race or two, then I would say he's in a pretty good spot. But if he just wins tonight, he won't have to worry about not making the next round because he'll already be locked in. And he can focus on Auto Club and Richmond, two tracks that I'm really looking forward to Auto Club the most out of those two. But we'll have to see how that goes, and that's going to be his main competition right there. Well, two of them at least.
Yeah, there's David Weishart in third, Jake Nichols in fourth, and Nichols is bringing the pressure to the back of the number 33. Nichols has been kind of a non-factor at the front for this race, Finian, but he's having a pretty solid top 5 night regardless.
I was going to say, it feels like this has been a horrible night for the 91 because he's not tasted the lead once this race, which is almost blasphemy in this series considering he came into the playoffs with 7 wins. But yeah, it's kind of surprising to see him back and forth, and just hasn't been quite a good day for the 91 in the office. Eric, you got a word for us?
I would absolutely like your not a good day, Finian, to happen to me because that's P4 right now for the 91. So I will take not a good day if that's the standard. No, I got some info for you guys. The only team that we really have not updated you on throughout the race has been Lucky Duck Motorsports crew. Gabriel Ellison, the playoff driver among those guys. But here's Douglas Newbigging on his race so far.
My steering wheel's knocked 45 degrees over to the right, so a little bit on the struggle bus, but...
So he's not having a great time. And here's the opinion of Indianapolis road course for the 27 of Gabriel Ellison.
This track makes me want to...
It was vulgar enough that I was not prepared to put it on the broadcast.
He said race more road courses, right?
That's absolutely what the 27 wants to do. He said he's in a survive type of mode. He is the last car on the lead lap currently. Ricky Springer not too far behind him. Hey, how about the job of Michael Curhan in the 24 right now, guys? This is pretty impressive out of him. +3 since the start of the race.
Yeah, good race. Good battle here for 7th. Rafe Slade, Travis Beckner going back at it again. Almost a touch through 13. Finian back onto the front straight now. These two are not done.
I was gonna say, guys can't get their hands off of each other. They always seem to find each other this race, no matter what's happened with even the few mistakes they made. It's a drag race down to turn 1 between both of them. Beckner with a little bit of an advantage and momentum, and with the line to the inside, he will go, makes a mistake on a check, and hit the 8. Push him out of lane. I'm sure Slade's gonna come back hard.
Oh, he's going to try and force Beckner off the road, but Beckner's still with him door to door as they're heading into 4.
Someone's going to give here. This is not side-by-side territory.
They're going to do this again for the second time, and this time Beckner's going to end up with the slowdown. Oh, he almost tags the 8. Woo! Guys. All right, wait, so it's 1v1. 1 win, 1 loss for either, and one car hard in the wall in the background. Ed Robertson clobbers the tire barrier at the exit of the chicane.
I think he was so in awe from that move that he wasn't focused, and he just wrecked it.
Watch Needles, he backs this in pretty hard here. Oh,
yeah.
Right there. Back the curb. And then the other two we saw. They came on through. Oh, man. That is so close. Whew. That'll wake you up.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they didn't. It seems like Eric's woken up. He's back in the booth with us. What you got?
I absolutely was woken up by the move that Travis tried to put on, and it did not work out. Here's radio from Miller Racing.
Just take your time. Don't lock them up. They're still there. Trying so hard for this one position. You could have caught them up there. You got them on?
Nope.
Clear, all clear. Expect from the course. You have to slow down and give up the time gain.
So that little bit of background there was Dawson Miller, the spotter for Travis Beckner. Calm voice trying to guide Travis through, and yeah, that was his audio picking up his speakers. Bleeding through his microphone, you could hear Travis cut the course there that is turn number 6 while he was side by side with Rafe.
Sorry, Eric, for 3rd place. Weishart locked up into 12, and Jake Nichols will drive on by. Thanks for the update, Eric, on the number 28. But that was wild stuff there for the 33. Just we've seen this all night long, Finian, into turn 12. Just
Yeah, I think was also trying to figure out how to get around Andrew Player. I think that kind of messed him up a little bit in his line and his approach to the corner, and then ended up missing his braking point and locked it up. Almost hit the 13, but made a mistake, and Nichols, who was closing in for quite a while, was finally able to get by into third.
Well, later on we'll hear how not happy Weishart is, or at least I will hear how Weishart was not happy about Player being in the way there. But overall, still a solid 4th place, but anytime you get the chance to be in front of that 91, want to make sure you finish in front of it. And looked like he had a shot there. Oh no, Springer. He might mess up his 8-second lead here as they're going through the X's.
It made me nervous, man. He touched the grass with the right side tires, and let me tell you something. When you get stuck in that grass, it feels like you give up 3 years.
Yeah, working his way on through. Just has to really not make a mistake at this point. You get 8-second lead back to 2nd place, Michael Curran, and Eric's back in the booth with us. Eric, you get any more words?
So David Weishart not happy with lap cars. I'm gonna cut most of this. We're not putting explicit words on the broadcast today, but here is one comment from David Weishart that I could at least play for you guys as he was talking about the lappers in front of him as Jake Nichols caught him.
I'm starting to think Jake paid him.
Yes, it was that short of a clip because the rest of it was 4, 5, 6, 7 letter words that David was not happy with. He was definitely not happy with Andrew Player right there, as he felt that is what caused Jake Nichols to slide on by, and now with about a second over him, Jake's off into the sunset, and David's pretty pissed he can't catch him up right now.
Well, you got seconds before disaster right there, that clip.
Yeah, you got to go to keep an eye on the paddock security cameras to see all the dollars changing hands from Solar Flare Racing later, I suppose. But guys, his frustration will be pretty short-lived. We are down to 4 laps to go, and Ricky Springer has a 7.6 second lead, and right now it appears like he's just kind of cruising, and he's got time to bleed.
He's got plenty of time to bleed. He's actually bled a little bit of time. Curran's caught up a second on the 24. I imagine that's because working through some traffic and not in any particular rush. No point in throwing it away now with just a couple laps to go. Just make sure you hit your marks. Don't get a cut course penalty, because that could actually cause the 24 to come back flying towards him.
Curran would recommend the 18 of Springer to bleed a little more so he can get a little more close in to have a chance at possibly winning, closing in around 7 seconds, but 3 to go. Unless there are mistakes made, this one is going to the 18 for the second weekend round.
And again, what a season comeback this would be. We already documented the challenges he had between his 2 victories. It has been all rain or all shine for the 18 so far this season, with just 3 laps remaining here at the Indianapolis road course. Fans,
I need a replay.
Oh, what? Okay, go for it. What you got?
Travis Beckner just nailed Garrett Grant, who was spun around, and I think it just cost Beckner a position potentially to slate. I'm not quite sure what I just witnessed. All I know is Garrett Grant was around in the middle of the racetrack.
Here we are. This is turn 7 on board with Travis Beckner. Grant was stopped middle of the track and nowhere for Beckner to go, and hit the 5, and there is a lot of damage, it looks like, on the left front of that car.
So I'm sorry, I love our sponsors. I'll let you get back to it.
No, you're good. It was worth stopping for. Grant, let's see what happened to him to get him prone like this.
Man, we've seen drivers spin on every which way possible in turn 7 so far this race. On the entry, on the exit, middle of the corner.
There's an entry one for you. Add that one to the tally. And he did the best thing he could do is not move, be predictable, but just the problem is he was right in the middle of the road and needed a clear opportunity to clear the road. He wasn't able to do that, and now Beckner will pick up some damage and now have to hold off Greg Mitchell, but he's got 17 seconds on him. Coming to 2 laps to go this time by fans. Be sure to check out area iRacing. Shop for merchandise to represent your favorite driver. Shop from our selection of t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, stickers, and more. Use code SWAN for 10% off your order at checkout. 2 laps to go now at Indianapolis, and Ricky Springer takes the 2 to go. And the way background, you can see Michael Curran, but I'm watching the guy that behind him. That's Jake Nichols, because that gap is coming down pretty quickly, guys. Last time by, 0.8 of a second that Jake Nichols ate into Curran's advantage.
Yeah, I was actually monitoring that for quite a while. It seemed like it slowed down a little bit, but he has picked up the pace again. So that 91 is still looking quick, and despite everything we were saying earlier about him having a poor day, he's just starting to catch back up. He's in the podium place at least in 3rd, trying to see if he can make that up to 2nd here. He's got about a lap and a half to do that, though.
Well, Weishart also a little more than a second behind the 91 of Nichols, so if anything could transpire here, I would keep an eye on the 33. Maybe well, I don't think he'd send it in to get third, but I would definitely keep an eye if this continues to close in.
This will probably be our closest battle coming to the end here. And Curran has had some struggles with turn 12 in particular the last few times around, so this is far from over. And let's not count out, we just saw what happened to Travis Beckner. Ricky Springer is not in the clear until he hits the checkered flag. You see the 27 go for a ride in the background at turn 12, but the white flag will be coming out this time by for Ricky Springer. A season which has had its rainy, dreary days, but lots of sunshine lately for Springer. White flag, one more lap to go at Indianapolis.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's nothing raining down on his parade at the moment unless he has something catastrophic happen to him in the last lap. As you see, Curran and Nichols work their way on through to the white flag. At 24, I'm sure he was trying to see if he can catch Springer. Now he's going to work with the 91 catching him.
Well, Nichols wants to be greedy, wants to take second away from Curran, wants him to, take the spot away and make it a little bit less heartwarming for the 24. He's had a really solid run here tonight. Marched his way through a few positions here towards the front. Got a second position going. Got half a lap though to keep that 91 of Nichols behind him.
0.8 of a second is the advantage. It's still pretty safe unless he makes a big mistake here on the final lap. But it is closing still 0.8 of a second. Now about 7.5 of a second. Big gain for Nichols there in the braking zone for turn 7. So this one's going to come down to the last couple of corners because Curran's been struggling with turn 12 finish.
I was going to say, we'll see if Jake Nichols is going to become a submarine and dive down into turn 12. That's his one major last opportunity. Curran got a decent run out of the corner, especially compared to the 91, and he's a little too far back for my liking.
12 cars off right in front of the leader here at turn number 13. So Springer works through the last couple corners. The 91 is close to the 24. Throttles up. I don't think he's going to get there here. Ricky Springer, though, for the third time this season, is going to triumph, and this time back-to-back wins from Talladega to the road course in Indy. Ricky Springer picks up the checkered flag here for second. Curran hangs on by just 0.4 of a second over the 91 of Nichols on podium.
Someone must want to throw a pulse monitor on the 24 car because I'm sure his heart rate was through the roof in those last few corners, seeing the 91 close in that much.
22 of Dom DeLeo working his way through the last couple of corners. Matthew Bell. All the top 6 are playoff competitors. Beckner, Hartz, Ellison, Weaver, Scioli all have some work to do next week, that's for sure.
Well, I'm looking throughout the top 10. If things stay the same here coming to the checkered, Ryan Hartz is still going to come home with the top 10. And we saw he was off track a couple of times. Did not seem like he had much grip at all, but seems like he's found a way to get himself in the 10th spot. If he can make it home, that'd be a solid finish line.
The last couple drivers coming across the line. Ryan Hartz working his way through the last couple corners. This was a tough night. Had some offs and some issues, but he's going to rebound for a 10th in the Rick's Hot Sauce number 3 Chevrolet. The last couple drivers on track on the lead lap, Bryce Senesac and Shane Abbey. But Ricky Springer, guys, this has been an awesome comeback. We documented that between his first 2 wins, no top 10s, and now 2 wins in a row.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is really, again, a really solid show of form for the number 18. I'm hoping this is the start. Oh, almost flipping the 91 there on the cooldown lap. Yeah, hopefully this is the start of something new for the number 18 machine because he seems to be on fire. And we'll see if he can carry that on the next few weeks because he's definitely found a spark that seemed to be lacking earlier on.
Celebrating at turn number 13. At least he's waiting to celebrate here.
Waiting for a teammate?
I have fond memories.
It's rare we see people wait to celebrate.
Yes, I have fond memories of this corner in particular. My first year, there's the 8, giving him some celebration. My first year working for Fanatec GT World Challenge America powered by AWS, I got to grid the yearly photo, and I got to point GT4 cars coming backwards off pit lane to turn around to head back to the front straight, and Springer celebrating in style. Okay, for a second. And back into the wall. That won't pass tech later, but celebrate and enjoy this one, Ricky.
He's gonna cue it over the bricks.
No burnouts on the bricks.
Well, he got close there. You look like he was going to go flying. Don't do it, Ricky.
Blasphemy.
Oh, he did it. Greedison.
Well. All right, he's going to go kiss the bricks here in a moment. We're going to take you through your race results in just a moment. I think I broke the car numbers on this. No, I didn't. Here they are. Ricky Springer, top of the board, the number 18, gets it done. Michael Curhan in the 24. Jake Nichols, Weishart, and DeLeo, the rest of your top 5, Finney.
Yeah, it's a great battles from those guys, 5th on back. We're in a tough battle all race long. 22, the 9, the 8, and the 28 managed to sort themselves out there towards the end. Greg Mitchell, Ryan Hart's rounding out your top 10 on to page 2. Bryce Sinizek, Shane Abbey, Gabrielson, Alex Weaver, Michael Sturgill, your top 15.
And looking down the rest of the top 20 here, Tyler Nichols, Yona Shiwu, Jacob Bell, Andrew Player, and Ed Robertson. And then moving on even further back, James Scioli, 24th place. Now, Hunter, that could have been, I think, a big misstep there in terms of the playoffs. We'll see how it affects him next week, but that's going to put him in a tight situation.
I'm going to go ahead and step in for Hunter because I believe he needed a break there. But yeah, that is a disappointing finish there from the 7 car. That really hurts his playoff situation, especially since a guy who we thought might be below the cut, but he came in right about on it. Ricky Springer goes out and wins the race, locks himself into the next round, guys. Man, James has a hole to dig out of going into Las Vegas next week.
He certainly does, and in just a moment we're going to talk to your top 3 drivers, Springer, Curhan, and Jake Nichols. Jake Nichols won a whole bunch of races before the playoffs here, comes into the night leading the standings and comes home in this race in position number 3. Jake Nichols, the 91 Solar Flare Racing Toyota, started 3rd, finished 3rd. A lot of work to get to the same place at the end of it all, but take us through your night. Had some good battles there, chasing Michael at the end.
Yeah, I was just focused on finishing tonight. I knew around a 6th to 7th place finish would likely lock me in the next round, no matter how next week went. So I was being a little too cautious early. I didn't run as many laps, I don't think, as other people did for practice. So especially in server and before. So I was just trying to get used to it. Any laps I did run were hotter track conditions, so this just felt so much different. It was really inconsistent early, but around halfway in the race, I got a little more comfy. I saw Weishart in front of me. I love comparing to him. Because I saw him make one mistake and I was like, all right, I need one more mistake and I can get to him. So I started pushing a little harder, got more consistent, and we'll take a podium any day of the week. I didn't think I was going to have an interview tonight, but we succeeded in our goal. I'm going to assume we advance automatically now based on points, I would assume, but who knows with counting the points. But either way, it's not the best night. Obviously, you want to win, but in terms of team points and locking in the next round, it's a wonderful night for our Solar Flare Racing Toyota Camry.
Yeah, not really bad at all. As we look forward to the next couple of rounds, we head to Las Vegas Motor Speedway next week, then Auto Club, Richmond, and Nashville to round out the season. Of those 4 tracks, which ones do you think you can bring home a trophy at, and which ones are you just trying to survive and pick up a top 5 or top 10?
You know, I think we can do it at all 4, obviously, but I think Nashville would be the least. There's something about the tire model there. I truly don't get it as much as other tracks. I did good last season, though. I think I would have won if we didn't have, well, could have won, I should say, if we didn't have weird tire strategy at the beginning of the race. But you never know how it's going to play out. But I'm really looking forward to the short track at Richmond and Auto Club there. 2 of my favorite tracks, especially Auto Club, since we've gotten a little update with it and moved up the groove a tad. But and obviously we won at Las Vegas last season, so I think there's some momentum going into that. But I think overall, I think we'll see the 91 up front very often in the last 4 races. I might have to learn a little bit at Nashville, but especially knowing that's the final race, so that's where it all counts. But if we get to that point, but either way, I think we'll be steamrolling, and hopefully we keep running good.
Jake Nichols, P3 tonight at Indianapolis Road Course. Jake, we'll see you next week at Las Vegas. Good luck to you.
All right, thank you, man.
Thank you. Moving on now to second place finisher Michael Curhan brings the number 24 car home in P2. Had to fight for it there at the very end with that 91 charging hard. Michael, congratulations. A really good run. 5th up to 2nd tonight. Some good battles inside the top 5. Take us through your night on the Indianapolis Road Course.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad I finally get to talk to you guys here in the booth. I've been close a few times this season, but to have it all kind of come together here in the playoffs, it's huge. But yeah, I was really just trying to just mitigate any risk or any mistakes throughout the whole race. It just the track seemed to race really treacherously, so I was really tiptoeing those first 2 laps on cold tires, and then even Jake locked it up there early on. So I was hoping some of that would happen, and it kind of all fell my way, and it ended up P2. And thank goodness this wasn't a 41 lap race, because Jake was coming quick. So all in all, really happy with the result for sure. Couldn't have asked for much more. So I'll take it.
Going to put you in a really good spot heading into next week at Las Vegas. Then we had an Auto Club, Richmond, and Nashville. In terms of the next round, you're probably in really good shape to get into the round of 8. But then Auto Club and Richmond are the next group. How do you feel about going to those 2 places?
Yeah, I feel pretty good as long as we get green flag runs. I feel like I feel like I'm better on the long run. So if we can get some green flag runs at those tracks, Auto Club and Vegas as well. Those are really fun tracks to race at, and definitely a little bit easier to pass at than Richmond. So definitely looking forward to them and hoping to keep the momentum going.
All right, Michael. Hey, congratulations. Top 5 and a second tonight for you and the number 24 team. Congratulations, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Cal. We'll see you next week.
See ya. And Ricky Springer, we're getting real used to talking to you, Ricky. This is your 3rd win on the season, and we documented last week that between your previous 2 wins, there was a whole bunch of races with no top 10s. This time, though, back-to-back wins. Talladega 1 week and Indianapolis road course the next. Were you surprised for this one as you were at Talladega?
I'll be honest, Kyle. Road courses are my thing. I love road courses. It's what I've done in real life. It's kind of what I've come to know. So I knew I was going to have a good shot at having a good finish. I didn't think I was going to be as fast as I was, but this Ghost Energy Toyota Camry was great the whole entire night. I wish I could have raced Scioli out for that one. It sucks whatever happened to him because we were having some great battles throughout the race, but not going to say I expected a win because I definitely didn't, but I expected a good finish at least.
Take me through that battle there with you in the 7. Lap after lap, you were chasing him down, keeping him honest, but then you got to a couple moments where you were side by side and almost had it. How tough was the car driving at that point? Were your tires overheating, or was it just 2 guys going at it, sliding around?
I really think it was just 2 guys going at it. I mean, I have a lot of respect for Scioli, so, I would drive it off in there, but I wasn't going to run him off the track, and, hopefully that respect was likewise, and it looked like it was. So, I don't think either of us were willing to run each other off the track for it. And I think that's what it came down to, is just good, hard racing, maybe a bump here, a bump there. But, other than that, we both had enough respect to really race hard for it and not end either of our nights.
Well, that you did, and you came home with a victory on the night. Congratulations, Ricky. You're going to be moving on to the next round of the playoffs. And good luck to you next week at Las Vegas. See if you can get another one there.
Thank you, Kyle. I'll see you there.
We'll see you. All right, guys, wrapping things up from the Indianapolis road course. Eric Wineland, let's start with you. Final thoughts on road racing here at Indy. I love this place. I think it's great. The racing was great, but some dramas throughout the night in a couple different areas.
Man, I could not believe what happened tonight. I mean, the Cup Series does not disappoint here in area with James Scioli falling out of the race. It puts him 9th now. He's below the cut line, according to Sim Racer Hub, where the points are uploaded for area. James not in a good position, 2 points out going toward Las Vegas. But Ricky Springer, I knew he was good on the road courses, guys, but obviously he was not my pick to win tonight. He mentioned to me during our interview last week that he felt better with it leading off with the road course, and he proved it right there because that's his ticket to the next round of the playoffs.
Yeah, tied for second in the standings is Ricky Springer, now with David Weishart. Finian, final thoughts here on Indianapolis and heading into Las Vegas next week.
It's definitely entertaining stuff here from this track. Definitely love it, especially with the new reconfiguration. But yeah, it's just crazy to see that call that Scully made to retire. It might cost him dearly going into next week. He's on the outside looking in, which I didn't really think would have been an issue up until maybe the next round of the playoffs. But yeah, I'm kind of surprised to see him in this spot. So we'll see what he can do to dig himself out going into next week.
And Hunter Sleppy, final thoughts here on Indianapolis. This was a fun one tonight. Lots of good racing up front and throughout the field. Lots of mistakes for a couple of drivers as well.
It did not go how I expected it to go, but it was exciting at a moderate pace, I'd say. It wasn't over the top exciting. I mean, it was better. Like I said, it's better than what I expected. It had some more closer battles, especially up front between Springer and Scioli. But him leaving the lobby, that's putting him at the cutoff right there. I'm looking at 9th in the points. Only a 2-point difference between Bell and Scioli, but hey, we'll have to see what happens next week in Vegas.
We'll have to see what happens in Vegas next week. Pick your bets because it's going to be a wild one. Las Vegas Motor Speedway next week. Tomorrow night we go racing at IRP with the trucks back here at the Indianapolis Road Course on Thursday for the Launchbox Series. Catch us 8:40 Eastern on twitch.tv/area iRacing. Big thanks again to all the partners and people that make things happen. And Hunter Sleppy, Eric Wineland, Finney DeCuna, and Kyle Heyer. We'll see you tomorrow night for the Area Truck Series.